Welcome back to Who Says Women Can Be Engineers, Episode 2, where I interview special guest Jordan.
Okay, so hello, I'm here with our second guest, and so can you please introduce yourself and your current role?
My name is Jordan Johnston. I'm a process engineer. I support Shenzi TLP for Woodside Energy.
Okay, so can you please explain a bit about your engineering discipline and your inspiration to pursue it?
So my engineering discipline is process engineering. When I was in school, I did chemical engineering just because I was interested in chemistry, and that kind of led me down a path. Like opportunities kind of opened up related to that. And so I kept enjoying problem solving, chemistry, troubleshooting. To me, it always seemed like a puzzle, right? Like something I had to figure out, like a root cause, at least in troubleshooting. And so that's kind of led me to where I am today, which is, kind of a far away from where I started, but, but
Yeah. So tell me a bit about your academic journey, like with high school and then like with university, and kind of like what classes you took, and as you said, you enjoyed chemistry, but anything else you enjoyed or like, yeah.
Yeah. So in high school, I was good at math and science. So I had taken all the maths and all the physics and chemistry and all the different sciences. And my physics and chemistry teacher, he was a former engineer who had gone back to be a teacher. And so at that time, I was interested in pursuing medicine, actually, but he encouraged me to also apply for engineering. And I did, and I got in. And at the time, I thought, you could also become a doctor with an engineering bachelor's degree. So it seemed like kind of a way to have both. But as I got further along into it, I guess I learned more about the industry and my strengths personally. I guess I wasn't as strong in biology. I seemed to be stronger in um, maths and physics and chemistry. And I also liked more the physical aspects of it, I guess. Maybe less of the emotional part of, that comes with medicine. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
yeah,
So
so just personally, I ended up going that route, but
yeah. So how has your career like progressed as you've joined the workforce?
so at first, I didn't know a lot about oil and gas, to be honest. And I graduated, and at the time, I guess that was in 2012. At the time, oiling was very expensive, so it was like $100 a barrel, and there were a lot of opportunities. Like I graduated in London, Ontario, in Canada, um, and in Canada, the oil and gas industry is all kind of focused in Alberta. And so a lot of my classmates from chemical engineering were moving to Alberta to pursue jobs there, and there were a lot of offers and opportunities. And so I just found myself also pursuing those. Not knowing all that much as you do when you start off in your career. So I started out with an engineering consulting company. That just means that they will work for clients, so like Woodside Energy, but at the time it was Synovus or Suncor or Chevron, and I would do the detailed engineering for projects that they had coming up. So they would say, oh, we're going to build a gas plant or a compressor station or a new pipeline gathering system, and I would be the one that would do the drawings for it, from initial design and through like risk assessments and HAZOPs out to construction. And then after they were constructed, help operations troubleshoot when issues came up. And so I enjoyed that part, but then I quickly realized that I wanted to be on the side, the owner side, which was coming up with more of the ideas and optimizations and projects rather than like on the consultant side where you were given a project and like a deadline and parameters to execute it in. But after it was done, you kind of hand it over and you didn't really get to see it through. Like you didn't see the final product, like if it worked out and what you learned. And that's kind of at the time I happened to move to the US anyways with my family, due to my husband's job opportunity. And when I was in Houston, got the opportunity to work for Woodside Energy, and then I got to do that side of it. So work on the owner side, which is more so now I am surveilling Shenzi platform. So trying to proactively identify when something might go wrong, and a lot of that background knowledge that I had doing the detailed design calculations helped, because now I knew how it was supposed to be designed, and then I could see when it was operating differently from when it should be designing. So it kind of gave me a unique perspective.
Yeah.
And then now I'm just troubleshooting, just trying to keep Shenzi online. I find it
Yeah,
really
big job.
interesting
Yeah.
because, like, yeah, where I had what I liked in the beginning was the puzzle, right? So
Yeah.
um, I like, seeing something's wrong and then trying to understand what it
Yeah.
is using like a fundamental knowledge of, physics and chemistry.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive.
It's
Yeah, able to use
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, did you ever have any like drastic changes in your schooling or like any moments of doubts when studying engineering, or were you always very set on it?
Um, I guess I didn't really have moments of doubt so much as I think looking back on it now, um, I would have preferred if I maybe did more like internships, or had more exposure to different industries, or because I just kind of kept following the opportunities as they came up, and going into them without really knowing a lot. And then
Yeah.
it worked out in the end, but maybe like just having that knowledge, or that exposure to like a wide range of industries, or like, the contractor versus the owner, like
Yeah.
that earlier on, I think would have been nice. But otherwise, no, I don't think I had a lot of doubts.
Do you think you would have done anything different if you did know more about the industries, I guess, or would you kind of stay with what you're doing now?
I think I would have I would have hoped I would have ended up where I am now.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, I'm not sure. It's hard to say what will
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
It
No,
kind
yeah.
of, yeah. And people also, like, a lot of it's not your choice. Like sometimes you start off in something, and like your seniors or your leaders will see in you that
Yeah.
you're particularly good at something, and then
Mm.
they'll offer you those opportunities. Um, so you don't always, it's not always on you
Yeah.
to to choose your own trajectory, I guess.
Yeah. That makes sense. So what does like a typical day in your job look like?
Yeah, so usually, so like on a Monday, the beginning of the week, we'll have a weekly call with the platform, and so we'll be speaking with the operations installation manager, the production supervisor, maintenance supervisor, planners and schedulers, chemical vendors, and then the whole surface engineering team will also call in, and we all kind of talk about what are the projects that are ongoing right now? Are there any issues? Is there support needed from engineering? And out of that, at the beginning of the week, we'll usually cascade into a lot of actions, or things to follow up on. And so then the rest of my day is kind of like, I'll also be doing my surveillance. So I'll have a dashboard that will kind of look through each of the major systems on Shenzi, and I just kind of look at the trends and see if anything is operating outside of its range, if anything has been triggered in the last 24 hours, like a temperature safety high or pressure safety high, or any kind of upset. And then, so like, I'll also be pursuing projects that are ongoing. So for me, a lot of the times that's chemical optimization. So trying to um, get to a minimum effective dosage on different chemicals for like operational cost savings, or to improve the process. Or I'll be trying to optimize further to either help things run more safely, more efficiently, or to increase production, ideally.
Yeah. So, kind of going off that, like, what kind of, obviously you said you work with Shenzi, but like, what kind of other projects do you work on, and have there been any that are particularly memorable?
I think so my job, I guess, as an asset engineer is kind of all Shenzi, but um, there are different projects that come out of it. So one of the ones I was involved in when I first started was like a decarbonization effort. So that's where
Mhm.
we're trying to reduce the amount of fuel gas that's used or burned on Shenzi. And Shenzi is actually really efficient. It doesn't have a lot that burns out
Yeah.
fuel gas. I noticed that we had one area of our glycol dehydration unit that was flaring just a lot of stripping gas, and nobody had really paid attention to it before
Mm.
um, because it wasn't key to the process. But because, like I said, I was coming from that engineering background where I knew what rate it should be, like what would be the ideal rate for that we would need for our glycol dehydration unit, which
Yeah.
just means it strips out water from the sales gas.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so I was like, why is this so high? And they were talking about trying to recapture that stream of fuel gas and recompress it and add all this equipment. It seemed really expensive. And I was just like, why don't we just turn this down
Mm.
um, instead? And so then they were like, sure, yeah, go do it. You know what I mean? Which is exactly why I like working at
Yeah.
this. And she was like, okay. So I came up with the procedures, some monitoring. I had the operations staff like turn it down, and we actually managed to save, I think, 115K a year
Oh wow.
fuel gas savings, and like significant, carbon emissions just due to that was just being burned and no
Yeah.
one was paying attention. So it's it's nice to see when you can kind of instantly affect change just because you notice
You
something.
know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I found that really satisfying, and I think some of the other projects have been yeah, the decarbonization efforts I really like, and then also anything that to do with like a digital, trying to make people's routines more efficient and
Yeah.
improve our surveillance of the asset and make it smarter.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that that's really interesting as well.
That is cool. So now I want to kind of go into like some insight in like the engineering industry, especially being a woman. So like have you ever had to face like any challenges or biases due to being a woman in this industry?
Um, yes, not so much with Shenzi. Everyone
Yeah.
there has been really respectful and great, but I have had it before, like especially earlier in my career, where like albeit I didn't know very much, so I was a young engineer
Yeah.
anyway. Um, I thought you'll get the odd comment of, people say things like, um, I've heard like little girl or like
Yeah.
you're cute or something like that, like just
Yeah,
in
just something strange. Yeah.
yeah, just people that are just not being as PC, I guess.
Yeah.
Not as
Yeah.
much recently. I think more
That's
so
good.
at the beginning. And then I guess like people always ask, do you feel uncomfortable? Because a lot of the times when you're doing site visits or site trips, you're going somewhere and you're the female, and then there's 50 other males that are
Yeah.
there, and you often are the only one, or maybe one of two. Um, so I guess I've grown to have a pretty thick skin, and I'm pretty comfortable around that. But it is
Yeah.
something that, like as a new female coming into the industry, it can be intimidating when
Yeah.
that happens, or like they don't have a designated female washroom, or
Yeah.
like they don't
Yeah.
think about things that you might need.
Yeah. I heard someone was like telling me that like there was the female bathroom wasn't even used. It was like used as a storage room or something. So they had to like clear it out. And I was like, that's crazy. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure it would give you thicker skin. Yeah. So kind of like zooming out, like what advice would you give to young women who are like thinking or considering to come into the engineering industry?
I think that it's really good to see. Like I see, I guess in the um, I don't know, younger generations, or like there just seem to be more and more female engineers. And I think just to have confidence in yourself, and um, don't be afraid to speak up if you have an idea, if you think that something is the right way to do something. I think that Yeah, you almost have to work a little bit harder to prove yourself initially before you get um, that confidence, and people have confidence in you that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's just like inherent, maybe in it. Like as a woman, you just have to work a little bit harder to be that much
To
better.
be recognized. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I talked to someone else earlier, and they were like, it just feels like I felt like I always had to work 110% like harder so that like I could like feel recognized. But
They
yeah, I
won't
feel like that's
default just believe you. You have to
yeah,
prove. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think it's also good to see more people, like especially more women getting into the engineering field, like at school. Like I'll have some classes and people will be like, oh, yeah, like a couple years ago there was like only 2 or 3 people, but now it's like a solid 9 girls in the physics class. So it was like, I mean, it's pretty good. It's good to see, but yeah,
Mhm.
I hope it just kind of continues progressing that way, which I think it will. But
I agree.
yeah,
I think that it's a little hard to, because I interface so much with the offshore staff, and there's always been initiatives to try to increase the number of like female offshore staff that there are.
yeah,
But the nature of their job is so, like, they're flying in and out 2 weeks in, or 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
yeah,
And so, like, often, I guess at a certain point for females, like if they decide to have kids, then that schedule doesn't work as well. Like you could
yeah,
make it work, but it's just harder. So I guess like as a mom of two myself, like I can
yeah,
see why all the offshore staff, like, or 90% of them are male.
male,
And that happens in a lot of the, like not just Shenzi, but other um, field sites. And
yeah,
so you always kind of have that dynamic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there always will, as you said, like it always will kind of be there. So it's just, yeah, I guess just kind of there's not much you can really do about that kind of stuff, but like making an environment so that it is better. I was also talking to someone and they said they felt like Woodside they didn't feel any like biases really towards them here. So I think that's pretty good as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. They do a really good job about trying to just be like respectful,
Yeah.
and think about how each different people might have different like needs, and things like that, and just trying to
Yeah.
make everyone feel comfortable. So it's good.
Yeah, that is really good. Well, thank you so much for recording this with me.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to keep updated for any new episodes.